Hello students, so moving towards our next topic, that is electrolytic cell. Okay, till now we have studied about electrochemical cell, right, in the very beginning of this chapter. Now we are going to study about electrolytic cell. It is known as electrolytic cell because the process known as electrolysis is taking place. Okay, the cell is known as electrolytic cell because electrolysis is taking place. Okay, now what happens in this type of cell? In this type of cell, electrical energy is converted into the chemical energy. Okay, so what was there in electrochemical cell? Chemical energy was converted into electrical energy. But in electrolytic cell, what does it happen? Electrolysis. That means electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. And in electrochemical cell, it was a spontaneous reaction. But electrolytic cell, it is non-spontaneous reaction. Okay, so the two differences you know about electrochemical cell and electrolytic cell. Electrochemical cell, chemical energy was converted into electrical energy, while in electrolytic cell, electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. Electrochemical cell was having spontaneous reaction, while electrolytic cell is having non-spontaneous reaction. Okay, so it can be a spontaneous reaction over here also, but for that what we require an external source of energy or external current we need to pass over here in electrolytic cell. But in electrochemical cell, it was not necessary every now and then that outer source is required. Why? Because in that redox reaction was taking place. Okay, now in electrochemical cell you saw that we were taking two chambers and we were connecting it. Okay, but here in electrolytic cell only one chamber is required, and there are two electrodes, we can say the metal electrodes, and it is connected outside with a circuit. One acts as cathode and another acts as anode. One acts as cathode and another acts as anode. Now the characteristics of these electrodes are, these electrodes can be of two types. It can be non-reactive or it can be reactive. Okay, generally they are non-reactive. Okay, that is non-reactive metals is used as an electrodes. Non-reactive metals is used as an electrodes. So which are the examples of non-reactive metals which can be used as electrode? It can be graphite or platinum. While if we are using a reactive electrode, okay, so non-reactive electrode, that doesn't mean like whatever electrolyte we want to take we can take. But when we are taking an reactive electrode like Cu, means what? Reactive electrode means that electrode should be having the material of the solution, that is then electrolytic solution. Okay, so the solution that we are using as an electrolyte, from that solution one ion should be of that electrode. Like for example, if we are taking CuSO4 as our solution, so we can take our electrode as Cu. Clear? Okay, so again I am explaining this much, that electrolytic cell undergoes electrolysis. In this, electrical energy is converted into chemical energy and they are non-spontaneous reaction. Okay, only one chamber is used for to carry out this reaction. Two electrodes are used which are metal electrodes. Okay, they are connected externally by the circuit. One acts as anode, another acts as cathode. The electrolyte which are to be used can be of two types. It can be non-reactive or it can be reactive. So example of non-reactive electrode is graphite or platinum, while electrode of reactive electrodes can be Cu, Zn, etc. Why we have to take like that? Because reactive electrode should be such that it should contain one of the ion of our solution. Okay, so Now how this electrolyte should be, that is how our solution should be. So our solution should be either in the aqueous form. Now you know what is the meaning of aqueous form, right? Like CuSO4 if you are using, then it should be containing more amount of water. I mean CuSO4 should be dissolved in water, right? Such type of solution can be used as an electrolyte, or it can be in the molten state, or it can be in the molten state. Only thing is it cannot be in the solid state. Solid state electrolyte cannot be used for this purpose. Okay, repeating again, it can be either aqueous solution or it can be in a molten state, but it cannot be in the solid form. What it cannot be, that is the electrolyte, that is the solution in which we are putting our two electrodes. Okay, so when we are joining the circuit and when we are passing the current, then definitely what will happen, again there will be a breaking down of the solution and everything, the process which we know, right? So what will happen, again the particles will be, or ions will be created, that is cations and anions. So cations will be created, so definitely it is going to be a positively charged, which will move towards cathode, which will move towards cathode. Okay, so from here what you understand, cathodes will be a negatively charged. Okay, so cation which are formed, okay, that are positively charged ions will move towards cathode. Okay, and it will go reduction reaction. Okay, and it will go reduction reaction. In reduction reaction what will happen, gain of electron. Okay, gain of electron. While Ni, so gain of electron means what will happen, at cathode more amount of deposition will take place on the electrode. Okay, on the electrode more and more ions will be deposited. While at anode what will happen, anion which are formed will move towards anode and go for oxidation, and go for oxidation. So in oxidation what happens, loss of electron, we know that. Okay, so what will happen, over here more and more deposition will be there, and over here less and less deposition will be there once the circuit is connected. Okay, I am repeating again, two types of ions will be formed, positive and negative. Positive ions will be going towards cathode and it will go reduction reaction, while negative ions will move towards anode and it will go, it will undergo oxidation reaction. Okay, so now on this basis, in order to carry out, the current is passed over here, right? So a scientist named Faraday has given few of the laws in order to calculate what amount of current will be flowing and what amount of ions will be deposited at cathode and what will be released from the anode. Okay, so let us study about this few the laws which are given by Faraday. Actually Faraday has given two laws, and that's why it is a set of laws which are known as Faraday's laws. Okay, the first law which indicates that weight of a substance deposited at electrode, so at which electrode it will be deposited, definitely at cathode. Okay, but we have not mentioned particularly over here. Okay, so the first law says that weight of a substance deposited at the electrode depends upon the charge flowing through the cell. Depends upon the charge flowing through cell means what, the amount of ions which will be gathering at anode. Okay, which will be depositing at anode. Okay, the amount, or we can say, sorry, the weight of a substance, that is the weight of a substance which will be deposited over cathode. Okay, will be depending on what, will be depending on the charge flowing through the cell, will be depending on the charge flowing through cell, right? That is the amount of charge which is passing through the cell will decide that how much amount of weight of substance is deposited at cathode. Okay, so means what, this weight is directly proportional to the charge. Okay, weight that is W, is proportional to the charge, that is Q. Symbol of charge is Q. You already know this, you are studying in physics also, and we have also studied in 11th standard. Okay, but we also know that Q is equals to IT, that is current into time taken, right? Q is equals to IT, means what? W will be proportional to IT. Okay, now proportionality constant here we are keeping as Z. So we are getting one equation, that is W is equals to ZIT. Okay, I am repeating again. Weight of a substance deposited at electrode depends upon the charge flowing through cell. Charge flowing through cell. So that weight is proportional to charge. Now this charge Q is equals to IT. Therefore W will be proportional to IT, and W is equals to ZIT. Here Z is equals to electrochemical equivalent. Okay, that is our constant value, that is electrochemical equivalent. Now how can we get Z? Z can be again defined as we know that, we do know that is, if it is 1 mole, then this much of current will be passed, etc. So if I is equals to 1 ampere, then T, if I is equals to 1 ampere and time is equals to 1 second. Okay, so इस formula में अगर हम रख रहे हैं, then what we will be getting that W is equals to Z into I into 1, into 1 into 1. So definitely 1 and 1 is there, therefore W will be equal to Z. Okay, at that time we can define our electrochemical equivalent. So from this, can you create a definition? From now onwards we can do this thing, right? That at 1 ampere of current, when we can say that when 1 ampere of current is passing in 1 second, at that time amount of, or the weight of substance deposited at electron will be equal to the electrochemical equivalent. If you want to note down right now, you can just note it down what I am saying, that when 1 ampere current is passed in 1 second, 1 ampere current is passed in 1 second, at that time we can say that weight of a substance deposited at electrode, will be equal to the electrochemical equivalent. Okay, at that time what will happen? Both will be equal. So now from this equation we can also calculate amount or anything. If this formula is there and any of the amount is not given, you can easily calculate it. Okay, now how do we know what is the value of Z? So in order to know the value of Z, the equation is given that Z is equals to atomic weight upon N into F. Atomic weight upon N into F. Now what is N and F? You already know. N is the number of electrons transferred. Okay, number of electrons transferred, and F is Faraday. And 1 Faraday is equals to 96500 Coulomb. 1 Faraday is equals to 96500 Coulomb. Okay, I am repeating again. W is equals to ZIT, where Z is equals to electrochemical equivalent, right? Now how to calculate Z? So Z, formula for Z is equals to atomic weight upon NF, where N is what? Number of electrons transferred or number of ions formed, by either way you can say, into F. F is what? Faraday, and 1 Faraday is equals to 96500 Coulomb, right? So they putting this equation in this equation, that is W is equals to ZIT. So अगर हम Z की वैल्यू रख रहे हैं तो then what we will get? M. Here I have used short form of atomic weight as M. Okay, we can say M into IT upon NF, right? M into IT upon NF. You need to remember this formula, that W is equals to M into IT upon NF, where M is atomic weight, I is current, T is time, divide by N is number of electrons transferred or number of ions into F, that is Faraday. Okay, so by this formula you can calculate what weight of a substance deposited on an electrode, okay, which depends on atomic weight of a substance, current pass, time, number of ions and Faraday. Okay, so this is the first law and the explanation of the same. Moving further about second law. Second law is given in a form of equation, that is weight of a first substance upon weight of a second substance will be equal to the equivalent of the first substance upon equivalent weight of a second substance. Okay, so here it is given in a form of ratio, that if any of the thing is not given to you, you can find it out in another way. Okay, that is weight of first substance divided by weight of a second substance is equal to equivalent weight of a first divided by equivalent of the second, right? So this is the proportional ratio which is given by the second law of Faraday. Okay, now Faraday has also given few of the things to be remembered. Now here Faraday's law, in that we saw that number of electrons and it is transferred, right? So it has given one nice, he has given one nice example for the same, to remember that 1 Faraday or charge is required for 1 mole of electron exchanged. 1 Faraday or charge is required for 1 mole of electron exchange. Now what do we mean by 1 mole of electron exchange and 1 Faraday? 1 Faraday means 96500 coulomb, or we can say charge. Okay, that much charge is required for 1 mole of electron exchange. 1 mole of electron exchange means if one electron is transferred, I mean whether it is gained or whether it is lost, okay, at that time the charge used will be 1 Faraday. The charge used will be 1 Faraday. Okay, so whenever 1 electron is transferred or exchanged, at that time 1 Faraday is used. 1 Faraday charge is used. Okay, so if here example is given that H plus ion gains 1 electron to give H, okay, that is hydrogen. So here what is happening, only 1 mole, right? Only 1 mole is there, that is 1 ion is 1 electron is transferred. So it will be required only 1 Faraday, which is equals to 96500 coulomb. But if we are taking these two examples, that is Cu plus 2 electrons, so here what is happening, 2 electrons are gained by Cu plus 2 to form Cu. So how much charge it will use? It will be using 2 into F. Why? Because 2 electrons are transferred. So 2 into F, that will be 96500 into 2 into C. Same way over here, that is aluminium plus 3. So here how many moles are there? 3 moles of electron, that is 3 electrons are transferred and it is becoming Al plus. Okay, so the charge will be what? 3 times, right? So that will be 3 Faraday. 3 Faraday is equals to 96500 into 3. Okay, so this way we can, this will be helping you in order to calculate the weight and the other things, right? Because as we know that equability constant or the equability numbers, weight equivalent, in that we know that we have already studied in our second chapter that transfer of electron, number of transfer of electrons are more important. So the same way charges are also most important thing. Whether you need to take 1 Faraday, 2 Faraday or 3 Faraday or 4 Faraday or etc. That depends upon the transfer of electrons. The number of electrons transferred, that much Faraday will be utilized. Okay, so this was also given by Faraday. Okay, so in today's lecture we have seen that first